Alright, so we're back. This is actually out of 185 videos. This is the first one that I ever tried to do completely by myself. And I'm holding this Canon XF605 great big camcorder camera, and it is really a pain in the butt. But the reason for this video, and the reason I'm doing it right now, is because I'm in the middle of preparing this brass for a 30 Nosler. A 30 Nosler I built for a customer. Really nice gun. And we're getting ready to shoot it. And he had sent me the brass. And he sent me 50 pieces of 30 Nosler brass. And he sent me 100 pieces of Peterson 30 Nosler Peterson brass. Okay. Now, in a conversation that I was having with him, I mentioned, well, I got to do all the brass work and everything. And he said, right here, this is what this video is about. He said, well, with the Nosler brass, you don't have to do anything to it. And I just kind of chuckled because, you know, he's being sincere. He probably genuinely thought, well, yeah, you don't have to do anything to it because, here, I'm going to try to zoom in here. See, it says case mouse are chamfered and deburred. It's visually inspected and weight sorted. Flash holes are deburred and checked for proper alignment. Well, here I want to absolutely be clear here right at the beginning that I am not in any way, shape, or form disparaging Nosler brass. I use a lot of Nosler brass in 28 Nosler and 30 Nosler. And I'm not just saying it's good, I am saying it's excellent, really, really good brass. I mean, very uniform. I like it, absolutely. So I want to be very clear on that. I'm not knocking Nosler at all, but when you come back to this right here, well, let's just say there's a bit of hyperbole in that, okay? And the customer was being sincere. He's like, well, you don't have to do anything to it. And so while I was sitting here doing it, and I thought to myself, what the heck? I might as well show them. So the first thing that I did on all this brass land here is uniformed flash holes. And this is it's really weird to have a camera that I can zoom. That is my Sinclair Brownells/Sinclair flash hole uniforming tool right there. And that right here is my Brownells/Sinclair primer pocket uniforming tool. And by the way, I drive these both with a drill. I use an electric drill to push both of these. So the first thing I did on both of these is do the flash holes. So I want you to show you something. Now this is the Peterson brass right here, right? This is the pile of chips that came out of the flash hole uniforming the flash holes of the Peterson brass. Here, I'll pull back a little bit to give you a perspective, right? That's the pile of chips that came out of there. Now, this is the pile of chips right there. I'm going to try to zoom in. This is the pile of chips that came out of the 30 Nosler brass. If I pull back here and show them both to you, you'll notice that those pile of chips is very similar. I mean, I'm not going to weigh them or anything like that, but the pile of chips over there is just about exactly the same as the pile of chips over here. All right, so the fact is, the 30 Nosler brass, if you're working to bench rest level cartridge preparation, they have to be uniformed, all right? And like I said, you see about the same, right? Now, this pile right here, which is harder to see, I'm going to come in. Okay, that is the pile of chips. Really, it's almost dust. That is the brass that came out of the Peterson brass whenever I uniformed the primer pockets. And by the way, they were very uniform to begin with. What you're really doing is you're cutting the corners and flattening it out, getting it very flat on the bottom. All right, now this over here is the pile of brass, the pile of chips that came out of the 30 Nosler brass. And again, those piles are very, very similar. And same deal, the pockets were very excellent in the Nosler brass. In the 30 Nosler brass, they were just, nearly the same, right? Nearly identical. So when you come back to this, again, I got to learn how to work my camera here. I mean, it's really good stuff. It is premium. I agree with that. But is it fully prepped, ready to load? Well, I guess it depends on what kind of a gun you have, the quality of the gun, your quality of your barrel, the quality of the shooter, how much knowledge you have, etc. If you only want to shoot, say 5-shot 1-inch groups at 100 yards, yes, I totally agree. It's fully prepped, ready to go. If you want to shoot 3/4-inch groups at 100 yards, yes, I would agree. It's fully prepped, ready to load. If you want to shoot 1/2-inch groups at 100 yards, say 5 shots, and you have a gun that's capable, I would begin to question whether it's fully prepped, ready to load. And this is an absolute now, if you want to shoot 1/4-inch groups, or for that matter, 0.2, 0.3, even 0.4 groups at 100 yards, 3 or even 5 shot, it is absolutely not fully prepped and ready to load. You're going to have to do full, what I call full bench rest brass prep work. You just have to. And see, the thing is with my guns, because I expect them to shoot small, I do this is just routine, standard routine. I do it on everything. I don't even know if I can remember ever just taking new brass out of a box or a bag and just loading it. Because I've been doing this for, as I think I've mentioned this before, these tools, my original brass tools, and I have a whole bunch more, my original brass tools I got from Fred Sinclair. Whenever Fred Sinclair actually answered the telephone and you dealt with him. And in fact, and I've mentioned this in other videos, somewhere I have handwritten notes from Fred Sinclair teaching me how to reload at true bench rest level. I mean, that's so super cool to me. If you're a gun geek, I mean, if you're an accuracy freak, I mean, I also have, and I should have brought that in here, I have a boxes of Burger bullets that have Walt Burger's handwritten information on the box, like on a piece of tape, his home phone number, the whole deal. So those bullets got to be 40 years old. So anyways, this is going to be a short video about fully prepped, ready to load. It is depending on the level that you want to take it to. If you want to shoot 1/4-inch groups, no, you're going to have to do it. And the chips, like I said, it's very interesting that the chips out of the Nosler look very similar to the amount of chips that came out of the Peterson. And I like Peterson too, by the way. I will say something, and this will be somewhat controversial, maybe. But out of all this new brass, the Peterson and the Alpha and the Nosler and all these different new brass manufacturers, when it comes right down to it, still, I would put Lapua brass, honest to gosh, Lapua brass at the top. And again, I'm not disparaging any of this stuff. I am not in any way, shape, or form. This is really good stuff compared to anything we could get 30 years ago. Really good. But Lapua brass, Lapua brass, overall from throughout all the different cartridges, the overall consistency and uniformity out of it they're still probably number one. And again, I really like this stuff right here, especially in 28 and 30 Nosler. I really like it. Now, I will say they're charging crazy prices for it. When we have to start paying $2 and $3 for a single stick of brass, to me that's insane. I've been doing this a long time. I think brass should be 50 cents a piece. And by the way, while we're here, if I do this, I cannot do this. I can't go in depth in this, and I got shadows now. Here, I'm going to see if I can. All right, so look at this. Let's just go through these quick. 6GT, awesome. 308 Winchester, beyond awesome. That's the cartridge I love to hate. I mean, I have such a relationship with that thing. 22-250 AI, awesome, but kind of a pain in the butt. I think 22 Creedmoor has made it obsolete. 6-284, man, super specialized, hard on barrels. If you're going to shoot long-range coyotes or perhaps even wolves, you know, stuff like that, oh my gosh, that's a wicked cartridge. 22 BR, nobody even mentions it anymore. If you're going to say you're a serious prairie dog hunter, I mean, that is an incredibly, it follows right along with 6BR, incredibly accurate, really nice cartridge. 264 Win, I used to build tons of them. Nobody even asks for it anymore, which I think is a real shame. That is, as far as deer and antelope, excellent cartridge. 338 Rem Ultra Mag. Okay, this is going to tick a lot of people off, but not the guys that really know. Of all the Ultra Mags, the 338 is by far and away the best balanced. Everything about it is really good. That's a good cartridge, especially if you load it with 250 grain bullets. 223 Remington, I mean, my gosh, what can you say? It's just, again, these are classic. That's one of the reasons why I have all these, by the way. That's partly why I'm showing you. 300 Winchester, I used to build so many 300 Winchesters, nobody even asks for it anymore. And I must say, too, that when guys do ask for it, a lot of times we end up, after we talk about it, we end up building a 30 Nosler or 300 PRC. So, not definitely a great cartridge, but not as popular as it once was. 7 Rem Mag, I mean, it's the classic of the classic. That thing is so hard to beat. You shoot 180s or even 190s out of it in a properly built gun. I shouldn't have to go through that whole conversation again. That thing is awesome. Totally awesome. And the deal with it is it can be a repeater. You can set it up properly with 180s, even properly with 190s, and it can be a repeater if you want it to be. 22-250. My gosh, I probably killed more stuff with a 22-250 than all other cartridges combined. I shot literally thousands of groundhogs in the east with it. I still shoot coyotes with it right now to this day. What a great cartridge. 300 Win Mag, we already discussed that. That's, you see, some of these are blue tagged ones, some of these are white tagged. They're all Redding die sets, but there's different types of dies in them. The white ones are competition, which, by the way, I don't really buy anymore. I usually buy the Type S match Type S match die set. And then you see it says, look at this, is so cool that I can, look at that, I can zoom in like that, neck die set. Okay, so where are we here? 300 Rem Ultra, same deal, great cartridge, nobody asked for it. They asked for 300 PRC or 30 Nosler. 260 Remington, what a shame. 260 Remington has been totally eclipsed by the 6.5 Crapmore. 260 is a great cartridge, and 260 Improved is a really great cartridge. Let's go back up here, see if I can see why Vicky struggles with this camera. This thing's heavy. I'm having a hard time. Okay, 6BR Remington, again, what can you say? 6BR is one of the greatest cartridges ever. 6XC, that's a really, really good cartridge. You want more velocity than what you get out of the shorter 6s? That's a heck of a cartridge. 6 Creedmoor. If I had to pick a 6 to hunt with, it would be 6 Creedmoor. Again, and really good factory ammo. Really good stuff. I can show you a whole bunch I have here, but I can't spin around while I'm holding this camera this way. 338 Lapua Mag. And that's standard 338. If you load it with 250 grain bullets, not the 300s, load it with 250s, build it properly where the bullet is seated up out of the case, you have full capacity. I have probably killed more big game with a standard 338 Lapua Mag with 250 grain bullets, maybe more than any other thing. And I got to tell you, you talk about hitting stuff with authority. Holy cow, that's a heck of a cartridge. 30 Nosler. I love 30 Nosler. That's, like I said, that's what we're working on right at this minute. We build those two ways, Burger 210s and Burger 245s. With the 210s, it has plenty of capacity, plenty of velocity. With the 245s, you could actually use a little more velocity. The problem is you start driving those big bullets way over 3,000 feet a second, and there gets to be a lot of recoil. So that has to be a consideration. 28 Nosler, same deal. One of the... If they would give us the right bullet for 28 Nosler, and if you guys are out there listening, we need a 205, a 210, a 215, a 7mm 215 bullet with a G1 of over 0.8. That would be maybe like the greatest big game cartridge ever. But again, nobody requests that anymore. They want 7 PRC and all that kind of stuff. Nothing comes close to 28 Nosler. As far as, there's so many different metrics that I could talk about. How balanced it is, how well the case is shaped, it's efficient. I mean, but we just don't have the right bullet for it for truly shooting long range. Now, you want to load it with a 175 partition and only shoot to 400 yards? Wicked medicine, boy. Wicked medicine. 300 WSM. I could talk for hours about that. You want to build a 30 caliber that's going to put 5 bullets through the exact same hole? Just build 300 WSM with Berger 210s. It'll be more accurate than you can shoot it. And if it's in a hunting gun, I guarantee it'll be more accurate than you can shoot it. 7-rem short action ultra mag, definitely one of my favorite. That thing is so accurate. These two right here are two cartridges that you can definitely hunt big game with that show extreme accuracy. Now, neither one of them are fast. That's part of the problem. You load the 300 WSM with 210s or the 7-rem short with 180s, and you're never going to hit 3,000 feet a second. I don't care how much barrel length you run. They're not fast, but man, are they accurate. 6.5 284 Winchester. Why people, I mean, that is a classic cartridge, known to be super accurate with 140s or even some of the newer, heavier bullets. That's a great cartridge, and you can make it a repeater. Then people say it's hard on barrels. Well, so what? So what? If all the bullets are going through the same hole, who cares? 647 Lapua. That might be my own personal next bench gun. I really like that cartridge. I mean, same deal. These are all super accurate cartridges right in this list here. And of course, that's why they're there. Now this one, this is a shame right here. It really is. 7 WSM. Way back when, I was building quite a few of those. Guess what? They always shot. And they'll definitely run with a 7 mag. There's no doubt about it. Maybe even a little over a 7 mag. Again, with 180s. Very accurate. Nobody even asked for it. Kind of obsolete now. 6 crap more, and let's not even talk about that thing. 280 Ackley improved. I never loved that cartridge. I never did. I mean, if you're going to shoot a 280, shoot a 280. If you're going to 7 mag, go to a 7 mag. I realize, guys, there's a cult following with that, but I don't know. I never loved that cartridge. There's nothing wrong with it. It will shoot. The guns I've built in it definitely will shoot. 6.547 Lapua is way more accurate than... Here, let's just let the camera do the talking. See this? This is way better. Okay? And you don't like that? Well, boo-hoo. Build 100 guns and then tell me. 243 Winchester, I don't know. I never loved it. There's another video of me talking about that because it's so dang popular, see? But I just always thought that there's better alternatives, especially now. I'd build a 6 Creedmoor any day than I'd build a 243 Winchester. Whatever. 6.5 by 55 Swedish Mauser. Great cartridge. Nobody asked for it. Great cartridge. It really is. 243 Winchester improved. I've only ever built a couple of them. All I'll say is it's better than that. Okay. 338 Winchester mag. Boy, I could talk for hours on this one too, but this camera's getting dang heavy. When guys call me up and the first word out of their mouth is, I want to be an elk hunter, the conversation starts right here. 338 Winchester mag with 250s. Again, built properly with the bullet out of the case where it should be. You realize that can make a very efficient lighter weight hunting gun, even without a break, assuming that you can deal with a little bit of recoil, and it'll make a repeater. You can put 3 down and 1 up. So if you're a guy who really hoofs around the mountains and you carry your gun with you and you're covering ground, yet you want pretty serious whack-em authority. Whack-em, is that a word? I don't know. Whack-em authority, that thing does it. Now again, I jump up to 338 Lapua, but I'm old now and I don't walk as much as I used to. I'm mostly shooting long range from one ridge to the one side of the canyon to the other. I'm not in the timber with them, but if I was in the timber with them, that's a really good cartridge. Nobody asks about it anymore. Now, let's see here. These aren't all... I got to back out. Okay, what do we got here? Well, that doesn't help us. That doesn't help us. Okay, 6-dasher. I just built a 6-dasher. Obviously, the dang things will shoot. Everybody beat me up about saying that 6-dasher, I didn't like it as much as the 6GT. Well, that's just me. I don't like the 6-dasher as much as I like the 6GT for 100 different reasons that I'm not going to go into. There's not time. 300 Norma mag. Okay, again, not very many people talk about it or ask for it, but the 300 Norma mag does everything bigger and better than 300 PRC or 30 Nosler or 300 Winchester. You can shoot the 245s out of that at speed. Okay, that's a good cartridge, and it will shoot. Again, 338 Lapua, we already talked about. 7mm 08. I never get very many people that ask for this. And I want to, I guess I was going to choose my words carefully, but I'll just say it. For a kid's gun or a woman's gun, if you're shooting good bullets out of that, 7mm 08, and you're not going to shoot long, in other words, 300 yards, 350 max, that's a heck of a good cartridge. It really is. 223 we talked about, 223, 338 Lapua, a lot of these are repeats, 308, 300 WSM, 300 Win, 260, 300 Win, 7 mag, 30-06. Okay, I've built a lot of 30-06s. 30-06 is really an interesting cartridge. It will shoot better than people think, but gun to gun, it will not shoot as good as a 308 Winchester. But you get an extra 100 feet a second, and it feeds slicker than snot. I mean, that thing will feed out of a box like nothing to it. So 30-06 is still definitely viable cartridge. It's really good. I mean, if I had to, I could live with just a 30-06. This is a cartridge, man. Nobody asked me for this, but that is truly a great cartridge. If you're into 257, I mean, is it going to be hard on barrels? Yes, but it's a great cartridge. If I was building purely antelope cartridge, I would consider that. 264 we talked about, 243, where am I at here? Let's start on the bottom over here. 270. Nobody ever asked me for 270, very, very rarely. I do not have all the tooling for 270, but I don't know how many deer I killed with the 270 Winchester, whitetails in the east. You hit them things with 130 grain ballistic tip, let me tell you something, they hit the dirt. 270 is a really cool cartridge. Again, deer cartridge. I don't want to start a bunch of controversy. I realize guys shoot elk with it. I mean, yes, Jack O'Connor shot elk with it. To me, it is not an elk cartridge. 308, 7 mag, 44, 22, 250. Here, I still have Bruce Bear dies. That is Bruce Bear from the East, Pennsylvania. He built me a lot of guns when I was literally a kid. I had a 284 Bear, a 308 Bear, and a 338 Bear. And they were all excellent cartridges. The 284 Bear, you load it with lighter bullets, you can get up around 3,800 feet a second. That thing is just absolute hammer of Thor lightning on whitetails. It just smacks them. 7 shootings times Westerner. I think I own 2 of those that I did not build. I think I had Bruce Bear build them. Really cool cartridge, but nowadays the 28 Nosler overshadows that. There's a cool one. I have had 2 of these also, I believe. 7x300 Weatherby. I don't know. If you want something different, yes. It's definitely viable, but again, I would just build a 28 Nosler. But that's a cool cartridge, no doubt about it. 25-06, I still own one. Nobody asks for that anymore. Again, for groundhogs, antelope, deer, light deer, I wouldn't consider it for big mule deer. I mean, really excellent cartridge. Feeds great. 28 Nosler, already talked about it. 338 Wind, talked about it. 30 Nosler, we did. Oh, here's one. 338, 378 Weatherby. Now you're getting into heavy hitters, okay? So if you were deciding between that, saying a 338 Lapua, a 338 Lapua Improved, or a 33XC, they're all about in that same class. You would have to decide about brass availability, brass quality, etc., stuff like that. 26 Nosler. 26 Nosler is a wicked cartridge. Most people, it takes some tuning and stuff to get that thing to shoot right. It's definitely overbore. Again, if you were building, say, we're a dedicated antelope hunter, sorry for that reflection, 26 Nosler, we already talked about that. 338 Ultramag, we talked about that. 6.5 Crapmore, we talked about that. We talked about that. What's up here? What is this? 300 Weatherby. Well, you know, the Reloading Weatherby was here. Austin Bushman, he loves that thing. And I agree, 300 Weatherby is an excellent cartridge. The thing is, like the 30 Nosler, it's a better design. The way the case is shaped, the way, there's just, I would take 30 Nosler before I would take 300 Weatherby, but again, there's nothing wrong with 300 Weatherby. Elgin Gates hunted the whole world just with that cartridge, killed everything, mostly with one shot. Here's a great cartridge nobody talks about, is 270 Weatherby. If you were going to build a 270 out of all the, how many is there now, like 4 or 5 of them, 270 Weatherby is just a screaming cartridge. Again, say load it with, if it's light game, load it with 130 ballistic tips. If not, load it with the 150s. I mean, that's a cool cartridge. So, what's this? Neil Jones. Boy, if you don't know who he is, you should. He's very old. He's like 90 years old now. Made custom dies, really high quality custom dies. I don't know what all's in them boxes. I can't remember. All right, guys, unfortunately, I agree with Vicky. This camera here, let me back out. My arms are actually shaking. This camera, even though it probably only weighs 5 pounds, you're going to hold it up to the face level for this long. It is quite a bit. So I just wanted to show you this. There's the chips pile of chips. And really good brass, but you know what? You still got to do brass work if you want to shoot in one hole. All right, that's it. I got to go. My arms are killing me. Thank you.